Hi guys! Today we're going to talk about psychic abilities. Are you one of those people that remembers having different abilities? Perhaps in other lifetimes or in another planet or whatever, in your past somewhere, and probably not in this current body, but do you remember, like it's an actual memory, having a different ability? Like maybe you could fly, or maybe you could teleport, or maybe you could resonate yourself into all corners of the galaxy all at once. Maybe you remember interacting with the universe in a very intimate way that you now feel like you're lacking. So is this something that happens to you? Like, do you have that experience where somebody is mentioning an ability and you go like, oh yeah, I used to have that. I don't know how to do this now, but that used to be something I could do, right? And then of course that wakes up this desire, right, to be able to do this now. And then we start to feel like, oh, is there something wrong with me? Like, why can't I do this now? If I was able to do it before, shouldn't the progression be like more, not less? So how come I used to and now I can't? That doesn't really make sense. Is that you? Does that something like you end up falling into that way of thinking? If so, put a yes in the comments so I know that this is resonating with you. This experience of being activated, feeling like you can perhaps go with the speed of your mind, or that linear time is not even something that is limiting you and you can go beyond linear time. Abilities like being able to see energy, being able to see energy guides, being able to interact with different spirits, with different consciousnesses, with extraterrestrials, with intraterrestrials, with multidimensional entities of different kind, being able to hear energy or see energy or experience. So is this something that you are noticing that you're craving, that you would like to have more of? So for the ones of you who don't know me, I am Eugenia Oganova. I am a soul strategist and a founder of Transcension Gate. What that means is that I help you guys figure out what is your purpose in life and how to own your worth, how to feel worthy and enough in order to actually live your mission, and then design clear steps on the path to your destiny, to something that you're meant to do this lifetime. So coming back to the experience of different psychic abilities. Psychic doesn't have to be woo-woo. Psychic simply means something that is beyond the regular senses. You know, so if physically we can see at certain frequency, psychic would mean seeing beyond that frequency. That's all it means. There are different ways of what to do with that information, what kind of information, and what kind of frequencies. Right? Some people who are clairvoyant are able to see energy literally, like floating around them, but they see it within, let's say, closer to the body range. So that would be a psychic clairvoyant person who is, let's say, maybe good as a medical intuitive, or somebody who can do maybe more healing that's related with the physical body, versus somebody who is clairvoyant but is able to see different range. That allows them to see, let's say, different energy beings that are not physical anymore, or even multidimensional range. Like I was born clairvoyant, so my range is actually multidimensional. So the energy beings that I work with, they're not necessarily spirit guides, they're more like advisors that are multidimensional. And I call them guardians. They are part of the guardian host, which is the creator gods, essentially, of this universe, that are all part of one God source. So they then connect to the solar console, which is another group of beings I work with. And there are many consoles of light, and there are many ways of connecting to different energies. My point here is that, let's say, even the idea of, oh, I want to open my third eye and have this ability, it's not just, and then I see everything. It's dependent on the type of frequency that the third eye is calibrated to. So somebody's third eye calibrated to the astral level will be able to see astral beings, or maybe people who have died. Somebody's third eye calibrated to etheric level would be able to see energy currents in the body, like sort of acupuncture points and meridians and that kind of a thing, chakras. Somebody whose third eye calibrated to multi-dimensional range might be able to see completely different reality, which is my experience. So this is not us simple. There's always different parameters for things, but it's still a really good idea to start tuning into what it is that you would like to have. Like if you think about having these abilities, what ability would you like to have? Like if you could have any ability, one ability, which one would that be? So write it in the comments below. I'm so curious to see what you guys would come up with. What would be one thing that you really, really, really would love to activate this lifetime? Okay, so go ahead, write it down. And as you're writing it, think, why do you want it? What is the actual internal reason as to why you desire it? Is it so that you feel special? Is it so that you feel safe? Is it because it's something you remember having and you wish you had it back? So look for what is the reason that you want that one particular ability. So one of the things about activating different energy abilities is that we cannot use them as means to compensate for lack of something. And this is unfortunately is one of the most common interference patterns, the self-sabotage patterns that we end up with when we say, oh, I want to have this so then I'll feel safe, or I'll feel special, or I'll feel significant, or I'll feel like I'm good enough finally, or I feel like I'm not as bad as I think I am, or then I measure up to someone else. So comparison, whatever it is, that's always lack. And when we start from lack, that's like an energy broadcast of scarcity. And frequency of scarcity is an interference pattern. Universe is an abundance energy. So when we are asking for something to be activated within us while broadcasting scarcity, we're actually sabotaging the very thing we're asking for. So that's one thing to remember, that if you want to activate a particular ability, it cannot be out of lack. It has to be out of something else. Curiosity, remembrance, exploration, there are many positive reasons, but it cannot be out of lack. Another thing to remember is that our abilities are connected to our soul lineage. So whatever our soul has gone through, whatever experiences it had, and your soul family and the pathway of learning that your soul has gone through, that's sort of amassed ability that this soul lineage has can be activated within you. So that's why comparison never works. When you look at somebody and say, oh, well, they have clairaudience, they can hear their guides, I have to have that, and I don't, so I'm not good enough. That's a self-judgment based on comparison. But maybe in your line, it's not about clairaudience. Maybe your pathway of soul learning is about having incredible intuition, or about ability to see ahead in a timeline, like prophecy or something, predict the future. There's so many different abilities, right? So if we figure out which ones are ours and then focus on activating those abilities instead of just anything that our personality thinks is cool, then we are much more successful in being able to do that. We are much more effective in actually bringing that ability into existence within this current lifetime. So in the course that I teach called Unlock the Powers of Your Soul Lineage, we will be working exactly with that. We'll be working with figuring out what is this particular pathway that your soul went through, what is it, this particular abilities that your soul has throughout many lifetimes and different incarnations, not even on this planet or on this planet, and then what can you activate and how to do so and clean up the interference in this lifetime to bring in what you actually meant to bring in. So if you are interested in the course, make sure you find the link wherever it is next to this video and click on that. That would give you more information about what I'm teaching. Okay, the third component, right? So far we looked at not comparing and making sure that it's based on us, not starting from lack, from scarcity, and instead starting from abundance. So the third component here is it has to be applicable. This is one thing that everybody falls into that gap, that I just wish I had that. Like, I'm curious, it would be fun to have. Now, that's true. It could be really fun to have some ability that you right now don't have, right? It would be really great to activate it. But it has to be applicable. If it's just more from something that takes you away from your journey, your own soul will not allow it. This is kind of the universal law here, that whatever we're doing has to be one way or another enhancing our experience. So we have to be learning through it, in simple words. So if something that you want to activate will actually just, you think will make you, I don't know, feel cool or something, but it's not going to actually lead you somewhere, or there is no place to put it in your life, then your soul cannot give you that ability. That's literally against universal law to activate that. So if we want to have some ability, we need to make it applicable. Like if you want to, let's say, work with animals and you want to be able to tune in and hear what the animal is feeling or somehow resonate with it empathically, great. Now it's an applicable ability, so you can work on activating that. Or let's say you want to bring in certain information because you're passionate about a particular subject and you want to download that information. So that still has to filter through you as an individual, but at least now there is a point for it. Maybe you're going to write a book or blog or create a class of some sort that you're going to teach. Whatever that is, it's now applicable. Maybe application is more personal. Maybe it's something that you yourself really interested in figuring out. Like let's say you have certain patterns that have to do with not feeling worthy, not feeling enough, right? This is a very common pattern that we have. That's a second chakra wound. So if we have that wound, we can be very much curious in activating ability that allows us to resonate with energies that are really high harmonious frequencies, like let's say unconditional love. Now, because we have the wound and we want the love in order to help ourselves heal that wound, and then maybe resonate that and help others, that's again making it applicable, even though it starts from the personal experience. So it always has to be something that lands into who you are. Okay. All right. Andrew asks, what if I want to levitate? Can I remember how to do that? I'm pretty sure I did that before in my other bodies. Well, Andrew, this is a simulation. Planet Earth is a simulation. Simulation means it's like a classroom with rules. So there's certain parameters, and we have laws of physics. That's our parameters for this 3D component, third dimension of this simulation. So in order to break through the parameters of the simulation, you actually have to break through the parameters of that rule. And the rule exists within certain frequency. So let's say within the environment where we're thinking the way we're thinking, levitation is not possible. Now, resonating something into an object and then making object change gravity, that is possible. And ideally, that's possible within your body as well. But in order to do that, the consciousness has to be there and the body has to cooperate. So two pieces are required if we're interested in breaking the laws of physics. Okay? So it has to be, the body has to be able to handle the energy, and the consciousness has to be at the place where it can do it. Without that, you cannot break the laws of physics. So it's totally possible. There are people that do it. But in order to do that, that's what's required. So if the body, let's say, is resonating as the planet Earth resonance and not able to anchor high frequency light, then even if the consciousness can, it's still not going to make the body move beyond the laws of physics. But in consciousness, then let's say you can levitate or travel or whatever, but the body can't. So that's why it's a biological ascension, essentially. We're talking about being able to bring light into the body and then transmute the body into light. Maybe not completely into light so it disappears, but have the body anchor enough light that it is able to handle frequencies that are outside of the range of the rules of this simulation. And if that's something that you can do, then yes, you can levitate just fine. That's how it works. All right, so for the ones of you who are interested to figure out your soul lineage and to figure out which abilities you have within this lifetime that you have as your inheritance that you can perhaps activate, definitely make sure you click on that link next to the video and find out more about the course that I'm teaching. I only teach it once a year, so if you don't do it now, you would have to wait a year. So the time is now. If you want to progress on your journey, this is the time. Make sure that you like this video, please, and share it. Share it with your friends. Share it with somebody that you know really, really wants to activate psychic abilities of some sort, but is lost in how to do it so that they have a little bit more guidance on how it works. All right? Bye-bye.